Flosstube. It's Nikki Diaz, Stitchy Nurse Mama, welcoming you to my first Flosstube of 2024. Happy Year of the Dragon, my friends. And if you stick around at the end of this video, I have a Year of the Dragon tribute giveaway. So stick around. So yeah, I think it's been about 4 months since my last video, 3 or 4, something of that nature. Lots going on in my house, some dips, some ups, just like, you know, everybody. Been playing lots of Baldur's Gate 3. That's been my husband and I's newest video game obsession, so lots of that. Very good game. It is February 11th. It is Sunday evening, thus the lighting. Super Bowl Sunday. So I am mourning the end of football season. I'm a football girl. But no, I'm not watching the Super Bowl because I am Cincinnati born and bred, and I don't like either of these teams. So if you are a Chiefs or a 49ers fan, I hope you're having fun watching the Super Bowl and have fun for me. See you next year. But it's also almost baseball season, which makes me very happy as well. But let's talk about some stitchy stuff. So yeah, I've been working on a lot of little stuff here and there, trying to do my best to not put too much pressure on myself. As you know, I've talked about multiple times on this channel, I am a type A human and I love to put undue pressure on myself that isn't necessary. So, you know, I've tried to give myself some freedom to enjoy other pursuits as well as cross stitch. So if you are also somebody who, like me, puts too much pressure on yourself, I say to you, this year in 2024, give yourself the freedom to enjoy other things too. And if that's not your bag, that's okay too. But for me, I actually started reading a book for the first time in a long time. I used to love to read. And then I went to nursing school and had to read a lot. So I kind of fell off the reading bus. But I recently picked up Eye of the Dragon by Robert Jordan, which was one of my parents' favorite fantasy series. So a couple hundred pages in, really digging. It's been nice to get into a book again. And then I've also been crocheting again a little bit. So I'll show you that today too. So end of the year last year, let's see, I picked up, I was really happy to get in on the Modern Folk Embroidery and Evertote Holiday Countdown, which isn't done. I am probably, I think, about 6 days or so away from the end of it. It's beautiful, and I really love it. And it's a little curled because it's been on a scroll rod. But you can see it here, kind of these, so my little birds in the middle will have heads eventually. Those are 2 birds on a perch. It's not eyeballs with the lion's mane like it kind of looks right now. But I really love it. I think it's beautiful and it's really colorful. The fabric and the threads are included in the kit, and it's actually a countdown box. The idea is you would do each day, every day. But if you've been watching my channels, you know I don't do well with that. But I did pretty well so far, and I am going to finish it. But all of these gorgeous threads are from Roxy Floss Co., which sells through the Evertote website. I'll link it below. And you can see they're really nice. They're like colorful, but they're also kind of muted, which I dig. I really dig. I think this one's one of my favorites. Look at that. Look at that variegation in that. Really pretty. So I don't know what I was more excited about, the piece itself or the fact that now I have all of these awesome Roxy Floss Co. threads to play with. So yes, so if you get a chance to jump in on that box next year, you totally should. Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery, you know, he splits up the days, and then he had like these really touching like holiday stuff. Like one was a recipe, some links to his channel where he was sharing some songs, and some just like, it was just really nice around the holidays. I really enjoyed it, and I will definitely be doing that again this year. So definitely check that out if you have an opportunity to do so. The other thing at the end of the year last year, I don't know if you've seen people who do this, but you know the ends of your threads, they're called orts if you're not familiar. Save yours up for the whole year and you can throw it into a ornament. I still need to label this, like put a little 2023 in here somewhere, but you can kind of, my light's shining off of it, of course, but you can see all my orts. So that's my orts from 2023. I just love this idea. I saw it at the end of 2022 and I was like, I have to do that. That's so cool. So yeah, then every year you have this little memory of your stitching from that year. So I think that's just adorable. And I picked up a whole bunch of these little plastic things, I think at Lowe's, for like nothing. So yeah, it was really easy to do. Some of you might need a big one, but this was good enough for me. But yeah, super fun, super cute. And then my last finish of 2023 was this cute little frog from Quirky Quaker's DarlingWhimseyDesigns on Etsy. He's freaking adorable. He's actually a present for my dad and my and his mom, my stepmom, his wife rather, not his mother. But I haven't mailed it yet. Yeah. He lives in Tennessee. If you're watching, Dad, it's coming someday. I promise. I framed it. But yes, it's super cute. I love this design. I love Quirky Quaker. They're just freaking adorable. I also made one for my mother-in-law. You can check that out on my Instagram page. So yeah, and I didn't use all the called for. I didn't have the called for, so I substituted. So I used some Weeks Dye Works. I used Whiskey and this color, which I absolutely adore, Celadon, which is this really nice kind of light brown to green, really nice. And then Collard, which is like green with just a touch of some yellow in it. And then Classic Colorworks Black Coffee. So that's what I used for this. Like I said, not the called for colors, but I thought pretty close. And it turned out super cute. And I just started doing some of this framing on my own, which has been kind of an adventure, kind of figuring it out, deciding what kind of backing I liked and things like that. Although I gotta tell you, I've been having some hard time finding cool frames because so many, like if you go to like any of the typical shops, like the frames are all the same. And it's like, I want to find neat ones. So I went to try to kind of do some thrifting and stuff, but it's kind of hit or miss. This one I think I actually got on Amazon. So I would love it if you guys would kind of give me a hint on where you find your frames. So drop it in the comments. Let me know, because I have lots of things that need framed. So yes. On to this year. Let's talk about WhipGo. So WhipGo, if you are not familiar, it's a Facebook group, and you make this chart, kind of like a bingo board, and you put your whips, your works in progress, on there. And then every month they call out 2 numbers, and those are your focus pieces for that month. And you can pick whatever goal you want to do, which is fantastic. You know, last year I tried to do 10 stitching days per piece. I could not keep up with that, mainly because, as I've mentioned before, I'm kind of a mood stitcher. Hashtag mood stitcher. So if I don't want to work on something, I'm not the kind of person that's like, this is my focus piece this month. Like, I really have got to be in the mood for the piece. So I was struggling to keep up with that. So this year I'm doing 500 stitches, which is totally doable for me. Like, if I get into a groove, one day I can get that done, or split it up over a couple days. So it's a lot less stress for me. And actually, with both of my pieces this year, this January rather, I went over because I didn't feel pressured to get those 10 stitching days in. So the 500 stitches, I think, is a really good goal for me personally. But it's your board. You can do whatever you want with it. If you find that the goal you've set isn't jiving, change it. It's just for you anyway. It's not, you don't have to hold yourself to this thing that you decided you were going to do. So just remember that. Your board, your rules. So I'm going to have my wonderful husband put my board up for me so you guys can all see it. Yes. And then, so you see how I've got mine laid out. I got the names of the piece. I've got a space for what month it was called. And then I've got like a completed or a not completed, you know, stuff like that. You'll also see, so I have some new starts on there. I try not to put too many new starts on my whip go board because, of course, the point is to get your whips going. But I usually throw a few new starts on there, especially if I already have them kitted up or things like that. And then you'll also see that I put on there a Rico's Choice. So Rico is my nickname for my husband. And I just let him pick one of my whips. So January was actually a Rico's Choice on one of them, and he picked my 2023 Modern Folk Embroidery Stitch Along, Reaching Skyward, because I didn't finish it by the end of the year. I really kicked some butt in the last like 4 months of it, but I didn't finish. So he knew I want to finish it, so he picked it for me. So this is kind of where I'm at. I'm almost to the end of October here, so which means I'll just have 2 more months. So I'm really excited to finish this. When I do, it'll be my biggest finish to date. So I'm very excited about that. I'll throw up a picture of what the piece looks like before I moved my Q-snap. It's a little wrinkly in the picture, but you'll get the idea. So it's very pretty. I'm using Classic Colorworks on this, and I didn't bring them over, but it's Ye Old Gold and Mistletoe are the threads. And the fabric is a 32 count Belfast in Plein Air, PleinAIR. So yes, I'm very excited to get this done. So I will get it done sometime this year. And then I think I'm actually going to probably pay to have someone to have this framed because it's so big and I spent so much time on it. It's been a long time since I've paid someone to frame a piece. So I think I'll probably pop on that, on getting a nice frame with this, with like museum glass or something. So we'll see. So keep an eyeball out for that. I have decided to not do the 2024 Modern Folk Embroidery Stitch Along. It's lovely, but I was struggling with my colors. So I picked out this really nice kind of like grayish blue dark fabric from Atomic Ranch. And then I did like a really nice light blue and then like a silver. But as I was getting into it, my silver, I think it was Thundercloud by Classic Colorworks, it was just disappearing into the fabric. And I realized I was like when it was all together, it looked like it was going to have a nice contrast. But then as soon as I started doing just a couple of threads, it was really disappearing and I was not digging it. So I pulled that all out and got a whole bunch of kind of more to the white side of the spectrum as opposed to the silver. I did a little bit of it. It just, it wasn't resonating with me. And I knew that there was absolutely no way that I was going to do this every month if I wasn't happy with the colors. So I decided to put it away. I've got enough to do this year. I'm like, I have the pattern. I'll probably do it one of these days. I absolutely love Modern Folk Embroidery. So it'll go in the pile of things that when I'm not sure what I want to stitch, I go and pull that out. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to attempt that this year. So I have, well, including the countdown, I've got 3 Modern Folk Embroidery whips right now. So got to at least knock out a few of those. The other whip go for January that I had was a new start. It was 9-banded Pride Sampler by the Craft Experimentalist. So I got that going. Here we go. This is my start, which, believe it or not, is like 750 stitches. I know it doesn't look like it, but it really is. I hate doing borders. Like, I hate borders. Borders they're always what I have to like force myself to slog through because I just don't like doing borders. I really like this one. I don't know if it's because it's the rainbow colors or just because I don't know. I didn't have that feeling when I was doing this border. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of fun. So yes, this is on just a 32 count Belfast in white. I got it on 123stitch.com. So yeah, and I'm using the called for Fiberlicious silks. So they actually have a pack specifically for this pattern. And yeah, here they are. Super colorful, obviously, in the rainbow. And they're lovely. They are so, like, you just want to, because they're so lovely. They're soft and they're fun to stitch with. So yes, there they are. So I'm excited for that piece. I'm excited to get that a little further along. As the name implies, it's got these nice bands. It's a band sampler, which I've never done, a band sampler. So I'm excited to get down to that part of it. So I know it's like a blazing start. There's so much to see on that, right? But I was enjoying it. So I'm excited for that one. For February Whip Go, apparently we're going to the woods because the two pieces that got picked were Cathedral Wood Goddess by Mirabilia and Woodland Faerie by Teresa Wentzler. So it's all about the enchanted wood creatures this month. So this is my Mirabilia right here. And it's kind of hard to see, but all of this is skin tone. It shows up a little bit better like in life than it is on the camera. So it's not quite as buried like on this, in this lighting. It's really hard to see, but I really like stitching this piece. When I first started, I was like obsessed and I like rolled like really fast, and then I got kind of sidetracked on some other stuff. There is some Crinock in it, which is the devil's floss, but not like an awful amount. So, but you can see kind of like all of this here is Crinock, and there'll be some more coming up. But I'm using all the called for DMC, and this is Caron silk here. And then of course there's a lot of beading in it because it's a Mirabilia, which is also something I've never done. So stretching myself on that, but I won't get to the beading this month. I've got a lot more stitching to do. So I'm excited to get back to that. This is a 32 count Picture This Plus in vellum. Word to the wise here. If you are going to use Picture This Plus, just know that every time I've used their fabric, their weave is pretty tight. So like a 32 count on Picture This Plus, to me, always feels a little closer to a 36. The dyed fabrics, you know, everything comes out a little differently depending on the dyeing process. And for whatever reason, anytime I have a Picture This Plus, I just feel like it's just like a tighter weave. So just a heads up, if you're somebody who's kind of on the fence, you may want to get like a different count. I personally prefer 32, but I can do 36. Anything more than 36 and my 42-year-old eyes are like, no. So 36 is kind of my limit. But yes, so that's this month's whip go there. And then the other one is my oldest whip. I think I started this when I was 16. Put it away for a lot of years, a long time. I left cross stitching for a long time, and before I came back to it kind of with a vengeance. So this is her. She's beautiful. You can see where I moved it over a little bit, if you saw when I showed this off originally. But so there she is. She's gorgeous. I don't even think you can get this pattern anymore. I don't think you can get any of Teresa Wentzler's stuff anymore unless you get it used. So yeah, this is on a 28 count Monaco in like a cream color. I think it's like just the Monaco that you can get at like Michael's, because at the time when I started this, I didn't know anything about the specialty stores. I didn't know anything about the websites or the community or anything like that. So I think this is just like a, what's that brand name? Charles something or other that you can get at the Michael's. So it's on 28. Most of it is 2/2, and then all of this section in her skin and face, that's 1/1 on the 28, which was a lot easier when I was 16. So I've got to put on my magnifying glasses for that one. But most of it's 2/2. There's a lot of like half stitches in this to give this nice kind of depth that you get in all of this here. And then I'm supposed to go over all of these wings with that filament, like the clear kind of sparkly filament. So I'll probably do that absolutely last. But yeah, and then this will all be filled in. It's a big piece and not quite full coverage, but it might as well be. So I'm excited to get some more done on that. I would really, really love to finish her someday, just because she's been with me for so long. So I love her. I will finish her one day. She's got a cute little mouse over here that I can't wait to get to. So I'm glad this came up on my whip go for this month. Excited about that. Let's see what else. It's like 7:30 at night, so this is green tea instead of my coffee, or else I won't go to sleep. So green tea. I pulled out something I haven't worked on in a long time. My long dog sampler, my only one. That's my whip. This is Templar Prophecy. Let me show you the piece first, because this is actually a paper pattern, which Long Dog, by the way, are now doing PDF patterns, which is awesome. When I got this one, they weren't doing the PDFs yet, so I'm glad they went there. Stupid light. Anyway, this is Templar Prophecy, which I really like. Just like all Long Dog samplers, it's insanely intricate. There's so much going on in these pieces, which is really cool, right? It's like a treasure hunt while you're doing your stitching. If you're not familiar, at least most of the Long Dog samplers I'm familiar with, they don't give you colors to use. It's kind of a dealer's choice. You pick your colors. I've seen some really freaking cool completed pieces where people have just gotten insanely creative, and it's really neat to see everybody's takes on these pieces. This is mine, and it needs to be put in this a little bit better. So as you can see, I'm only like one page in. So this is a here's my dog barking at other dogs. This is a variegated thread. Let me pull it out here for you. Okay, here we go. This is Sulky. It's a 12 weight. So because it's a 12 weight, right? It's of course you can't see it. It's a little heavier than, like, say, the DMC floss. So I'm just doing 1/2 on this, because one thread of this, right, is kind of equivalent to 2 in our typical skeins. This color is called Caramel Apple, and you can see here, get it all the way up there for you. It like does the green to the kind of yellow to the pink. So I put this down for a long time because when I got the Caramel Apple Sulky, in my head I was thinking those rich browns and those rich greens and those rich reds that you would see from like a medieval tapestry. And that was really kind of the feel I was going for and what I wanted it to look like. And it's just a little lighter than that, right? It's not that saturated, right? And so I was really disappointed, and I put it away. And then I think it might have even been in November when I pulled it back out and just started looking at it again. And I was like, I don't know, I'm kind of digging it. So sometimes you just have to step away from stuff for a while and then come back to it with fresh eyeballs, especially if you have kind of an idea in mind, right, of what you want something to look like and it's not working out. Coming back to it after taking a break from it, you might see it new. And so I think I'm gonna I put a couple more threads in this bad boy, and I think I'm gonna keep going with it. It's a really big piece, so it's important that when you're doing a big piece that you're going to spend a ton of time on, that you love it. So I'm liking it much better. Now, as you can see, kind of how I'm grouping my variegation here to get kind of maximum colors. So there's a couple different ways you can play with variegated thread, and I know that I talked about this in my last video a little bit, and I'm still planning on doing a video specifically on variegation because I really like variegated thread and I've kind of played with a couple different ways to use it. So as soon as I can figure out the best way to film it, I will put up a video on how I like to kind of play with my variegated thread. So yeah, I think I may have shown this on my last video. I don't remember. I probably should have watched it before I started filming a new one. And the other thing that I've been working on, kind of just for fun, is from Forbidden Fiber Company. It's 12 Days of the Empire box. So here's they have such fun bags. That's one of my favorite parts about their kits is the bags. So there's Darth Vader. So yeah, so the Empire, of course referring to Star Wars Empire. So it was 12 days, so a little advent to start. It was starting on Boxer's Day and kind of going from there. And each day you open a little pattern and then a new floss color. And so each of the patterns kind of builds. I chose to do mine. I'm going to do mine in a kind of Star Wars sampler. So I've got 3.5 done. You can see Darth Vader coming in the other day. Actually I was working on him earlier. So yeah, I'm really liking it. It's going to be 4, by 3, right? So 4 across, 3 down. And I'm kind of treading some new ground here because I'm trying to create the sampler in a way that makes sense. Meaning that I'm trying to put the center lines of these pieces kind of equidistant. I know it doesn't really look like that right now, but that's partly because like this piece is wider than like this one. So it's a lot of math. So I hope it turns out okay. It's my first time trying to do this, kind of putting together a sampler based on a bunch of little patterns. And even if it doesn't look right, that's okay. It's just for me. And it's fun to do it. So I think I've got kind of it sort of figured out. So I'll be interested to see what it looks like as I get further down the way there. But it's really fun. I love the little patterns. They're not super complicated. They're still nice and you see what they are, but they're not insanely complicated. So they're really nice to do in a day or two. And they came with all of these wonderful Forbidden Fiber Company threads. And, their threads are always so nice and colorful and bright. And so, yeah. So there's all their threads there. And then let me kind of show you, too, if you can kind of see. So this black is actually like a black to gray. It's called Moff Gideon, which is really fun. And so I tried to kind of plan my variegation. So I started with the black here and went up. So I'd get that nice gray at the end. And then I did the same thing here. Started with the black and went down. So that's another way you can kind of plan out variegation. You can do like random, kind of like what I was doing on the long dog, or you can try to work with it a little and try to plan it out. So I was really happy with the way that turned out. I'm not sure. Okay, there you can kind of see it. So kind of purposeful there. And this fabric came in the kit. This is from Forbidden Fiber Company, which their stuff's always fun. Their kits are fun. I like them very much. Other than that, the other piece I was really excited to start this year, and it was going to be like a focus piece for me all year, was this nice historical German sampler. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the company. I will tag it below for you guys, but I'm not even going to attempt. But it's from 1807. The pattern name is HVKH 1807. And it's just beautiful. It's a reproduction sampler. It's gorgeous. And I'm having color problems this year. So the color that I picked was Rosewood by Gloriana Silks, which is so far been one of my favorite colors to stitch with. It's what I used for Closely Kept #1 last year. And it's this beautiful like red to brown, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I love stitching with Gloriana Silks. And for some reason, it's coming up so freaking dark on this antique white. Like it even looks almost black in this lighting, but it's not. It looks almost like a chocolate brown. So I've been on the fence. I picked up some other reds, and they're just too garish. They're not what I want. So I can't decide if I'm going to keep going with this color or if I'm going to leave it and come back to it, like I just said. Maybe I just need to leave it for a little while, come back to it, and see what I think. But this is an antique white Belfast 32 count. I know. I should really like branch out. Almost everything I do is on 32. But yeah, so stay tuned for that. Maybe I will keep going. Maybe I will change it. I'm not sure yet. But I love the sampler, and I would very much like to. It's been on my list for probably a year and a half. Been on my wish list. So I finally was like, I'm going to do it in 2024, and then just second guessing myself a little bit. And then, like I said, my friend Jeannie, who I've mentioned on the channel before, my work wife. Hi, Jeannie. She started learning how to crochet. And so now I'm not an expert by any means, but I taught myself probably about 10 years ago or so, maybe even a little longer. But I'm not like an expert, but I know enough to kind of help her through the beginning stuff. But then I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that I really like to do this. So I started crocheting a little bit again. This is a piece that I started, maybe the second week of January or so. Second, let me get my hook out of there. So you can kind of see, stand up here for you. So this is going to be a shawl, and it is by Yaga Yaga is the name of the designer. She does beautiful shawl designs. I mean, just gorgeous. This is actually my second one that I've done. And you can I hope you can kind of see the detail. Don't mind the tail there. There you go. So you can kind of see the detail. It's just really, really pretty. And it's a self color changing yarn. Okay, so it started in this really nice kind of like, deep pink and went to this lighter pink. And then it's going to eventually get to like this white and into this gray. So yeah, really cool. This is from Hobby, Hobbii. They are in England, I think. And this yarn is Sultan Deluxe is the brand. And they've got all kinds of like really nice color changing yarns. I think I have like 6 or 7 upstairs. Like when I bought these, I bought like a ton. And they're really fun. They're nice to stitch with. I am using, holy heck, I don't have my glasses on. I'm using a 3.5 milliliter on this one. I think because I started cross stitching before I started crocheting, I have a tendency to crochet a little tightly. So a lot of times I will go up a size than what's recommended just to try and keep my crocheting a little looser. So yeah, I will post some progress pics on that, and I'm trying to not undo my work here. I know I should use stitch markers. But remember that hot mess stitcher thing? It goes for being a hot mess hooker too. So yes, but I will post some progress pics of this on my Instagram. So if you're not following me, go follow me there, Stitchy Nurse Mama. I'll link my Instagram on there, and you can go check me out. I'm going to try to be a little more active on there this year. I tend to fall off as the year goes on. So that's kind of all my updates. It's not like a whip parade or anything, but those are kind of what I'm working on, the pieces that are kind of forefront for me, at least for right now. Next month, it'll probably be something different. But I did promise you guys a giveaway. Now, I've never done a giveaway on the channel, so, but it is the Year of the Dragon, and I have this beautiful pattern that has been languishing in my stash for over 20 years. So I'm not going to stitch it. I just decided, I'm not going to stitch it. And it's another Teresa Wentzler, which, like I said, I don't think you can get these anymore. And it is Celestial Dragon. So in honor of the Year of the Dragon, I would like to give this to somebody. So if you're interested, comment on this video and say something about dragon. I don't know. Be creative. Say something about a dragon. And the only caveat is you have to be a subscriber to the channel. So if you're not, subscribe, and then say something about a dragon if you want this beautiful, beautiful piece. It's gorgeous. Like I said, I just don't think I'm going to stitch it. Like the Faerie, I think most of it is called for 2/2 on 28. And then these Chinese characters here are, I think, 1/1. So, but it's completely intact. It's not even bent, really. I think there's some bending here just from being in my stash, but I've never stitched it. So I would love to give this to a good home, somebody who would like to stitch it. So comment, and then I'm going to pick a winner at random, and then we'll connect, and I'll get your address and I'll send it to you. So good luck, friends. I will, let's say from the time this video goes up, we will keep this open for 1 week, and then I will pick a winner. So yeah, but that is that. I hope you guys are having a good 2024 so far, and drop me a line. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you're working on. And hopefully I will see you again. Hopefully not quite as long as the last 3 or 4 months. And I'll keep you posted. But in the meantime, happy stitching.